This is just sort of my happy place going through my collection and
Ah, yes, this used to be one of the greatest video stores there ever was in Iceland, but now it's a bakery.
Well, hello there, guys. Welcome back to Icelandic Psycho. So, physical media. Why is it so important to me? What's it about physical media that makes me feel better about myself and what I'm doing in life, coding the flick brick? It's just because it's physical, right? Let's get physical. I watch a movie, say, on streaming that I really like. And then I go on Blu-ray.com and I look for a version of it. And maybe there might be a version that's, it's an old Blu-ray, maybe 15 years old with not so many special features, but I still want it. Because it just, it makes me connect to the movie more. And also when I'm watching movies on streaming, it doesn't feel the same. I'm not connecting with my hobby as much as I am when I'm just going over my physical media stuff, and all the special features on these. You get a lot of stuff that you wouldn't on streaming. For example, an audio commentary with Paul Verhoeven and Arnold Schwarzenegger. What a treasure. And some releases, they have some awesome extra stuff, like some, posters and I also really love me some booklets to read. Wow, that is interesting. There's something really, really special about physical media, and there's been an ongoing question on the internet if physical media is supposedly different. It doesn't feel the same. It feels the same to me, but those videos are mostly people from, United States, and Best Buy, of course, is gone.
I definitely had some great times in Best Buy back in the days.
I guess the hunter-gatherer vibe there it's not the same as it used to be. It's pretty much the same here. I mean, there's two stores in the center which have a large collection of movies, just like they did back in the days.
Ah, yes, let us descend into the holy nerdy store that is Nexus. Oh, just look at all this glory, the taste of it, the smell of it, the texture.
Because I really get that hunter-gatherer vibe. That is really me. I want to go hunting for these films. I can get lost in the stores, for a couple of hours easily, and I have to go through every movie each time. There's just something very special about being here in this room and going over my collection. Sometimes I go over my collection in the thought of trying to, get rid of something that I don't need. For example, I might have multiple versions of the same film. Yeah, that does happen for collectors. But it's also the difficult side of being a collector is sort of the fact that they're always coming out newer version, and it's hard for you to accept that maybe just the version that you have is good enough. But this new version, it has the cover on it. It's so beautiful, and it has more special features. And yeah, it's frustrating sometimes, but it's very, very lovable at the same time, right? But this is just sort of my happy place going through my collection, and sometimes it's important to there's a slipcover right here which has basically all the same information on the front and the back. I mean, exactly the same as it does without the slipcover, but you still want the slipcover. It still makes you feel better about what you have in your shelf because it looks so sleek, doesn't it?
And when it gets cold outside, you just want to stay in and watch movies.
There's also the fact that with streaming, it's compressed, and sometimes they even cut out a part of these films. For example, they cut out supposedly some 15 minutes of this film for Netflix. Why would they do that? I have it here. I have the whole experience here, how it's supposed to be experienced. And sometimes there's like a good film that, I might watch, but then all of a sudden it's leaving after 2 weeks. And
this just might be the worst movie I've ever seen. What a bad movie night gold. And what a version. You gotta own that, right?
This is my collection. These are my movies. This is sort of what defines what I want to own a little bit, And that just makes me feel, again, better about who I am and what I'm doing in life. I also really miss these sort of video stores where you could go to and talk and rent a movie. And, being a 90s kid, that is something that at least I got to experience. And I've got to experience so many forms of physical media and so many transformations in this, physical media stuff. For me, this is like when Uncle Scrooge goes diving in his money in the morning. That's the same feeling I get when I come here into this room, diving into my collection, just filling me with power for the day. So if you're a physical media collector like me, I'm sure you can relate to at least most of the things I'm saying, right? And if this is your first video on the channel, consider subscribing. I would really, really appreciate that. And let's keep the discussion going in the comment section down below. I do read your comments. I do respond to them. I love to see what you have to say, guys. And remember, keep your movies close and your physical media closer.